Uh, okay. Square, S square, triangle, BH divided by 2, parallelogram, BH, rectangle, BH, trapezoid, H times B plus B divided by 2. Yeah, it's all facts. Tell them we all at every single area. Tell them we all at square, S square, triangle, BH divided by 2, parallelogram, BH, rectangle, BH, trapezoid, H times B plus B divided by 2. Yeah, it's all facts. Tell them we all at every single area. Tell them we all at square, S square, triangle, BH divided by 2, parallelogram, BH, rectangle, BH, trapezoid, H times B plus B divided by 2. Yeah, it's all facts. Tell them we all at every single area. Tell them we all at.
What's up, scholars? This is Mrs. Finney with Lyrical Math, and this is our track tutorial for our song, Every Single Area. This track covers the math concept for areas of two-dimensional figures, and what you just heard are the formulas for areas of two-dimensional figures. The learning objective for this song is for you to practice reciting and memorizing those formulas so that you can calculate for any areas of any two-dimensional figures anytime. Let's get it started.
Okay. Square, S square, triangle, BH divided by 2, parallelogram, BH, rectangle, BH, trapezoid, H times B plus B divided by 2. Yeah, it's all facts. Tell them we all at every single area. Tell them we all at.
All right, let's get started with our first formula. We have square, S squared. So we know when we have a square, we have 4 equal sides, and we indicate that by putting 1 tick mark on all of those 4 sides. We also have 4 right angles, meaning each of these angles are equal to 90 degrees. When we listen to our formula, square, S squared, the S in that formula stands for side. So we're talking about the length of the side. The length of the side in this square is 5 feet. So what we want to do is always start by writing our formula down. So we wrote down A equals S squared, and we want to identify the variable in the formula and replace it with a number. So we're replacing the variable S with the number 5. I'm going to set up here by lining up my equal signs. And instead of writing S, I'm writing 5. And then I'm going to square it exactly like I see here. Next thing we need to understand is, what does it mean when we square a number? So squaring a number basically means you're multiplying a number to itself 2 times. So if I had 7 squared, that would simply mean 7 times 7, which we know equals 49. If I had 3 squared, what does that mean? Did you say 3 times 3? Bring down the confetti, please. We have a scholar on deck. So we have 3 times 3, which equals what? 9. But in our case, with our square, we have 5 squared, which means what? 5 times 5. Do you know what 5 times 5 is? 25. Outstanding. So we want to write this down as 5 times 5. We're just breaking it down. And 5 times 5 equals 25. We then want to write feet afterwards. And we want to square it. When we read this answer, we read it as 25 squared feet. 25 squared feet. So the area of this particular square is 25 squared feet. Let's wrap the lyrics out again. Square, S squared. We're going to now move on to our second two-dimensional figure, which is a triangle. The formula is triangle BH divided by 2. Wrap that out with me. Triangle BH divided by 2. So in this case, we have the variables B and H. B stands for base. In this case, the base is 8 centimeters. H, what do you think that stands for? Height. In this case, the height is 4 centimeters. When you have two variables right next to each other, it simply means we're going to multiply those two variables. So in our case, we're replacing those two variables with 8 and 4. So we want to multiply 8 with 4. Line up your equal sign here. And we're replacing B with 8. And we're replacing H with 4. Everything looks the same. We just want to replace the variables with what they equal inside of the two-dimensional figure. And so we divide by 2. Our next step is to figure out what is 8 times 4. We know that to be 32. So I'm lining up my equal sign again. I'm breaking it down. 32, and that's divided by 2 as well. We want to get to our final answer simply by taking 32 and dividing by 2. So I'm going to go off to the side as if I have some scrap paper, and I'm going to figure out what is 32 divided by 2. Divide. Put the number on the top. So the number of groups of 2 I can get out of 3, I put at the top. That's one group. Multiply. Put the number on the bottom. One group of 2 gives me 2. Subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring down my digit 2. Now I have 12. And then I'm going to do it again. Divide 12 by 2. Put the number of groups at the top, which gives me 6. Put the number on the top. Multiply. 6 times 2 gives me 12. Put the number on the bottom. Subtract. And we get 0. Nothing left to bring down. So our final answer is 16. This tells us that 32 divided by 2 is equal to 16. We want to put cm after it. That stands for centimeters. And we're going to square it. So when we read this final answer, we read it as 16. How would you say it? Did you say squared centimeters? Outstanding. Give them a drop a bomb on this right here. Drop a bomb on this. That was just like the bomb. So for triangle, the formula, wrap it out with me. Triangle BH divided by 2. Good job. Nice work. The third two-dimensional figure that we have in this track is parallelogram BH. B stands for what? Base. H stands for what? Height. In this case, the base is 6 inches. The height is 4 inches. All right, now when I look at a parallelogram, I kind of think of a rectangle that's leaning to the side. All right, lean with it, rock with it, lean with it, rock with it, so on, so on. It's an old song. But in this case, the two sides that are opposite of each other, they are equal in length, and then the other pair are also equal in length. So we want to take the base, B, and replace it with 6. And we want to take the height, 4, height H, and replace it with 4. So we have 6 times 4, which equals, let's think of this as 6 groups of 4. 6 groups of 4. If you have your answers to your times tables memorized, you know what it is. But guess what? Even if you don't, we can figure it out. So we can just keep adding 4. How many times? 6 times. We get 24. Or you could have did it like this. 1 group of 4, 2 groups of 4, 3 groups of 4. Look at what I'm doing. 4 groups of 4, 5 groups of 4, and 6 groups of 4. We can still get to the answer 24 if we add all of these dots together. So our answer is going to be 24 24, we need to write inches, and we're going to square it. How would we read this here answer? 24 squared inches. So our area for this parallelogram is 24 squared inches. Nice work. Let's go to our next formula. We have a rectangle BH. So we're still working with a base and a height. So notice the formula for parallelogram is BH. The formula for rectangle is also BH. How convenient, right? Now, B we know stands for base. In this case, the base is what? 10 centimeters. So we replace B with 10. And H stands for height. So the height in this case is 7 centimeters. We want to replace H with 7. So we have 10 times 7, which is 70. Nice work. So this is 70. CM goes after it. And what else do we need for this answer? We need to square it. Yes. So our answer is 70 squared centimeters when we read it. All right. Next, we have trapezoid H times B plus B divided by 2. We are going to have to plug in for the height, for a small base, and for a large base. Not a problem, we could do it, nothing to it. Not a problem, we could do it, nothing to it. Not a problem, we can do it, nothing to it. So let's get to it. We have a height of how much? 3 feet. So I'm going to put my equal sign. I'm lining that up. And we have a small base in a trapezoid of 4. We have a large base of 6. Good job. And we're going to take all of this and divide it by what? 2. See how we just replace the variables with the number that represent that particular variable. We want to solve the parentheses first, and that is what we do when we follow the order of operations. Take care of the parentheses first. So right now we have 4 plus 6, which equals, did you say 10? Then you're down for the win. Next, we want to plug in 10 instead of 4 plus 6. Everything else looks the same. Only thing that changed is that instead of writing 4 plus 6, we wrote the answer to 4 plus 6. Next, we're going to multiply the 3 times the 10, which gives us 30. So here we now have 30 divided by 2. We're getting there. Last step, we want to do 30 divided by 2. So I'm going to go to the side again as if I have some scrap paper. Use my steps for division, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So when we divide, how many groups of 2 can I get out of 3? 1, put the number on the top, multiply. 1 times 2 gives me 2. Put the number on the bottom, subtract. 3 minus 2 gives me 1. Bring down 0, and then I'm going to do it again. Divide. 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. Put the number on the top, multiply. 5 times 2 gives me 10. Put the number on the bottom, subtract. I get 0. Nothing left to bring down. Final answer is 15. So 30 divided by 2 gives us a final answer of 15. We then write feet and we square it. How would we read this final answer? 15 squared feet. Nice work. Thank you so much for joining me for this track tutorial for area of 2-dimensional figures. I will see you again at the next track tutorial. Peace out.
Right.